Are you ready to dive into some nervous system talk? So most of us know that food is comforting, but not everyone knows why. In pop science, it's really all about brain chemicals, dopamine in particular, the supposed pleasure chemical that gushes between neurons when we eat sugar or snort cocaine or whatever else it is that gives you pleasure. That's my best wink. But dopamine is only a tiny part of the story about food and comfort. Another huge part is your autonomic nervous system, or the ANS. And the star of the food and the ANS story is the vagus nerve, this gorgeous long cranial nerve that snakes down from your brain all in your whole digestive system and pretty much every organ in your entire torso. Every aspect of eating, from chewing to swallowing to digesting to absorbing to eliminating, is influenced by the vagus nerve. But it also goes the other way. The act of eating, chewing, swallowing, digesting, has a big impact on the vagus and the messages it brings up from the body to the brain. Communication goes both ways. And in addition to eating and digesting, the vagus nerve's other big jobs are to respond to 1, changes in your safety, and 2, changes in the quality of your social connections, which is a big part of safety for humans. Virtually all humans experience the relationship between eating and a sense of safety and eating and a sense of connection when we are nursing infants. And that relationship between eating, safety, and connection stretches out for the rest of our lives. Food, safety, and social connection are extremely intertwined. When thinking about this in terms of emotional eating, it's really helpful to remember that the nervous system operates on a spectrum. No nervous system is ever going to try to eat its way out of being chased by a rabid bear, but eating for sure helps to soothe the vagus nerve anxiety that's caused by subtle threats to safety and subtle social disconnection. I'm talking about your gruff, irritable dad. I'm talking about your high-strung mom, your bullying sibling, the mean girls at school, or any of the other vaguely unsafe, unstable, unpredictable figures that we tend to be surrounded by while we're growing up. And in the society I grew up in, it was implied that this type of subtle threat and disconnect was normal and okay and shouldn't affect me. These situations create a weird, free-floating anxiety in the nervous system, and in response, the vagus nerve wants to shift us towards self-protective nervous system states. But those protective states are extremely energetically costly. They cannot be maintained for very long. And at the same time, the nervous system craves affirmation of safety and reconnection. So if it's unacknowledged, if subtle threat and disconnection is chronic, if it feels like safety is always subtly at risk, if connection with the important people in our lives is unpredictable at best, the nervous system will find other ways to regulate. In situations of subtle, chronic lack of safety and connection, eating, swallowing, feeling physically full are very potent nervous system regulators. Biologically speaking, if we're eating, if there's abundant, tasty food around, we must be safe-ish. On a biological level, that feels really true to the body, partially because of those experiences of being fed, nurtured, and cared for simultaneously as infants and toddlers. Those experiences have conditioned the nervous system, taught our bodies that food means safety and connection. And because the nervous system was conditioned at such young ages, we're not even able to have conscious memories of these associations because the hippocampus isn't fully online. So reaching for food when the nervous system senses any level of anxiety, threat, disconnection is literally second nature. Before we even know what anxiety is, before we could even pronounce the word, our bodies know how to soothe the feeling of anxiety with food. Soothing with food becomes a very deeply ingrained habit, a reflexive impulse. And soothing with food is, objectively speaking, better for your health than stewing in self-perpetuating stress hormones. Soothing with food is a favorable option to developing alcohol dependence or a drug habit, but eating also doesn't fix any of the underlying issues about feeling subtly unsafe and disconnected. And for a lot of us, we're not even aware of these subtle feelings because we've been living in it for so long. It's just normal, and society tells us it's normal. Society tells us that we're just overly sensitive. But in so many of our lives, something just feels off all the time, and we get that reflexive urge to reach for the candy or the donuts or the chips or whatever our comfort food happens to be. And the thing about it is that using food to regulate the nervous system almost works. It almost feels as good as genuine safety and connection, but it's impossible to get enough of something that almost works. So what can we do? Well, fortunately, it's very simple. You just remove your nervous system. I'm obviously joking, you would die immediately. So this has been literally a $1 billion question for a very long time. And humanity has tried so many different tactics to help people who self-soothe with food. Their diets and self-discipline and willpower and shame and stomach stapling and eating ice. And none of it is reliably effective. In recent years, there has been some awareness about the vagus nerve and the role that it plays with the body and the mind and the emotions, but I haven't heard many conversations about leveraging that kind of nervous system and vagus nerve work to assist with overcoming emotional eating. I know using some physical self-treatment modalities to improve vagus nerve function and regulate the entire nervous system overall have been effective and helpful. I noticed a change in my own body, but there's no way that those could ever be enough to get me to a state of okayness and contentment. So I found that working with nervous system informed modalities that allowed me to do self-work and also to be guided by competent practitioners as I dug deeper into my tendencies to soothe with food and to discover what that behavior was covering up, and then to go one step beyond traditional talk therapy or coaching to actually heal what I had discovered was something that was effective. And the modality that was the most effective for me was internal family systems, or IFS, which I mentioned in my last video. And I found that it's an extremely effective way to work with the parts of us who use food to soothe, who use food to protect the other parts of us who are carrying deeper wounds. I am of the personal opinion that it is particularly potent to layer IFS work with really good self-care. And I don't think anyone will be surprised to hear me say that one of the most potent forms of self-care is nourishing yourself with a calorically sufficient whole plant food diet so that your body gets everything that it needs, all of the nutrients that it deserves, everything required to thrive. And next week, I am very excited to dive deeper into the topic of IFS and explore that framework and how it can be a really effective tool that we can leverage in investigating the behavior of emotional eating, as well as how we can get to the deeper parts of us who are carrying those wounds and help them to heal and reintegrate back into the whole of who we are so that we can find that peace and that contentment, that safety and that connection that we've been craving for our whole lives. And if you want to, I would love it if you left me a comment down below to tell me what has been the most helpful takeaway from this video so far. Thank you in advance if you use your time to do that. And on that note, I will see y'all whence I next eat. So even though it's super early, I am I'm ready for dinner. So I have some brown rice and green split peas, probably half a cup of each, in the Instant Pot, cooked up. I top it with some miso, some nutritional yeast, some brewer's yeast, some dehydrated onion flake thingy-majiggers, and then that is thrown in with some red cabbage and red onion. And it's very wholesome and filling and quite satisfying to eat straight out of an Instant Pot. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. Just me and my book, watching the rain come down. And a little dessert snack, some deglet dates, cacao nibs, and a little bit of peanut butter. Thank you all so much for watching today. I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. As always, until next time, make better choices for yourself. No one will do it for you. And take really, really, really good care. I'll see you all soon. Bye. Oh my God. Oh. Thank God it was my leg. Put you away. Fool me once.